Good evening, everyone. We'll begin the evening service at the Miroku Association headquarters, expressing our gratitude to God and Meishu-sama for the permission and protection granted us, while participating today in God's divine plan of constructing a paradise on this earth. Let us pray together the Amatsu-Norito, the prayer of heaven, followed by the Miroku Prayer. Please stand. Taka amahara ni kanzumarimasu, kamurogi kamuromi no mikoto mochite, sume miyoya kamu izanagi no mikoto, tsukushi no himuka no tachi hana no, odo no ahagi hara ni, misogi hara itamo toki ni narimaseru. Araido no o kami tachi, moro moro no magagoto tsumi kegare o. Arai tamae kiyome tamae tomao sukoto no yoshi o. Amatsu kami kunitsu kami yao yorozu no kami tachi tomoni. Ame no fuji koma no mimi furi tatete. Kikoshi mese to kashi komi mo maosu. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Miroku o mikami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Oshie miyoya nushi no kami mamori tamae saki hae tamae. Kamagara tamachi haemase. Kamagara tamachi haemase. Great God of light, creator and giver of all life, in accordance with your divine will, the long age of night draws to an end. Your radiant divine light, shining ever more brilliantly, awakens the dawn of the glorious age of light, a time long awaited by all humanity. We thank you for guiding us to your divine plan and for the privilege of channeling and receiving Johrei. May our spirits and bodies be illuminated and purified as we live your truth given to us by Meishu-sama. Make us pure and effective instruments of your divine light, so that we may serve you and all those with whom we come in contact. May paradise on earth be realized, with health, peace, and prosperity, a reality in our lives. Great God of light, bless and protect us. Radiate our souls with your divine light, so that we may truly become instruments of your great plan. Please be seated for group Johrei. May God Meishu-sama bless you. Teaching this evening is entitled Art and Beauty from Daily Inspirations, page 97. Nature's splendid beauty, its mountains, rivers, trees, and flowers, is God's work of art created for humanity's enjoyment. Because my goal is to help others live in paradise, I must first create paradise in my own heart. When we enjoy art in all its loveliness, we are uplifted and purified, cleansed in mind and spirit, one of God's great blessings. There are three ways for people to attain spiritual purification and higher awareness. One, through suffering. Two, through the practice of virtue. Three, through beauty. First way, suffering is experiencing physical illness or adversity. When spiritual clouds are accumulated to a certain level, a natural purifying activity begins, according to the law of purification. This is nature's way of maintaining harmony. The second method of purification, the practice of virtue, is experienced through the giving of self in service to others, both on an individual and a worldwide level. This is a better way of dispelling spiritual clouds and raising one's spiritual vibration than through the first method. It is much easier and offers the joy of service while cleansing the spiritual being of its impurities. The third way for purification to take place, through awareness of beauty, is experienced by a direct contact with the beauty of nature and with the enjoyment of lovely things created by human beings. Places of natural beauty carry a high spiritual vibration. Part of God's plan was the creation of flowers, trees, mountains, and seas for us to enjoy, and while enjoying them, to be purified in spirit, mind, and body. Any type of man-made beauty purifies the spiritual being to some degree. Paintings, sculpture, music, poetry, and prose all carry the vibrations of their creators as well as their own, producing a vibratory power that is second only to God's own creation, nature. Both service and beauty are stressing our work. They form a balanced harmony that constantly purifies our spiritual beings. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this evening service of the Miroku Association headquarters. This evening, the faith experience I want to share with you is from Gabriele de Oliveira Campos Sandins. She's from the Osasco Johrei Center, Brazil. Excuse me. Gabrielle is 19 years old and she was blessed to be born into a Johrei home. Since she was little, Johrei has been present in her life. Her paternal grandfather was a pioneer member of our church, having received the sacred focal point of Hikari in Rio de Janeiro in 1969. He was always an enthusiast to channel Johrei and was affectionately known as Mr. Healing, due to the countless cases of cures of disease and other miracles experienced by people to whom he provided religious assistance. Gabrielle grew up listening to stories of miracles with Johrei, and she believes that this solidified her faith in the channeling of the divine light from an early age. At this time, she would like to share with us her most recent experiences with receiving Johrei in the basic practice of our faith. At the age of 9, she began playing sports. She fell in love with volleyball from day one and decided that she wanted to play that sport professionally. She even played in some teams, but she didn't feel satisfied. So in 2017, she started looking for a placement on a more competitive team. She intensified her dedications in order to achieve this goal. She went to the Johrei Center an average of 4 times a week, read the teachings, and participated in all church activities. However, in the month of December 2018, the time of the evaluation trials for the teams, she had a domestic accident. She fell down the stairs and dislodged her left shoulder. At the moment, she thought that all her chances to play that sport had gone down the drain. The test found that her shoulder's ligaments were torn, and there was also a small fracture. The doctors informed her that her case required surgery. The doctor immobilized her shoulder and told her to rest. However, he stressed that if she didn't have the surgery, she might not play volleyball again. Since she was little, she has always given herself in service, but she had never had a Johrei challenge. And she always asked herself, how am I going to promote Johrei if I don't have any personal experience that brings me that conviction that I'm always hearing faith experiences? It was after this accident that she realized that she needed to step out of her comfort zone. She went before her home altar and said a prayer in which she reported her situation to Meishu-sama. Thereafter, she made the decision to, first of all, practice the divine writings. For 3 months, she went daily to the Johrei Center. She arrived in the morning and stayed until the evening, receiving Johrei and reading the teachings. She received full support from the members, who took care of her, even providing her lunch. She felt blessed to be part of our Johrei movement and didn't have to take any painkillers. She was then undergoing treatment with a physical therapist, who, upon noticing the rapid evolution of her condition, told Gabrielle to return to the doctor, because, in the therapist's opinion, her shoulder had already healed. She went back to the doctor, who, after a clinical evaluation, said that surprisingly her shoulder was in perfect condition. Thus, she was released to return to her sports training. However, the doctor warned that she should be careful, as the possibility of a new injury was high. She became very happy and grateful to Meishu-sama. She could hardly believe the great miracle she received. She could go back to pursuing her dream of playing volleyball professionally. She returned to training along with her dedications at the Johrei Center. She hired a sports exchange agency, which helps athletes find universities in the United States to study and play. Due to her position on the volleyball court, she was warned that it would be very difficult to have her request granted. However, to everyone's surprise, after sending some of her videos to some coaches, from the end of 2019 to the beginning of 2020, 4 offers were presented from colleges here in the United States. However, the COVID-19 pandemic soon began, and she was apprehensive of not being able to take advantage of this long awaited opportunity. Once training had been suspended, she intensified our basic practice of faith at home. She made it a goal to read the 5 volumes of the teachings of Meishu-sama and increase the number of Johrei she was receiving and channeling to her family. With the of restrictions in relation to the pandemic, she went to the Johrei Center to give service whenever she could. In September 2020, she participated in an advanced training for members at the Sacred Grounds of Guarapiranga. There were 10 days of much dedication and prayer, in which she had the opportunity to hand over her concerns to Meishu-sama and detach from it. She understood more about the dimension of our church and how great is the work of Meishu-sama. After that period, she can say that her faith in Meishu-sama has become unshakable. She managed to have clarity to opt for one of the offers received from the universities, the one that seemed most appropriate for her. Her trip was scheduled for January 2021, but with the documents and regulations resulting from the pandemic, her traveling plans were postponed to August. On the day of the Paradise on Earth service in June, a month and a half before the trip, she tripped on the stairs and sprained her right ankle. her right ankle. After examinations and consultation, the doctor said it would be practically impossible for her to recover in time. It is worth mentioning that the first game she would play would be just a week after her arrival at the US college. Even feeling pain and fear in not being able to play, she knew that the purification was to purify her body and spirit for this new phase of her life. Motivated by the experience she had with her shoulder by receiving Johrei intensively, she made the decision to surrender herself again to the work of the divine light. The Johrei Center's youth group gave her great support, providing religious assistance, and Gabrielle received Johrei all day long at her home. When she could walk, she went to the Johrei Center. After a month, her ankle had already healed without medication, and she resumed training 2 weeks before traveling. Once again, she realized the strength of Johrei and felt deep gratitude for yet another miracle received. Finally, the day of her trip arrived. Her heart was filled with joy and gratitude for all that she has been permitted to experience. She realized how important the challenges and purifications were for her to become stronger and more prepared, and with greater conviction in the sacred Johrei and the teachings of Meishu-sama. She currently plays and studies at the Lincoln College in the state of Illinois, where she was very well received by teachers, coaches, and friends. Training and games are in high performance and physical demand. Even so, she never again felt pain or discomfort in her shoulder or ankle. It's like she has never had an injury. She's working hard to spread Johrei to her teammates. Some of them are interested in learning the Portuguese language and ask her to teach it to them. On such occasions, she utilizes Meishu-sama's teachings in Portuguese to do so. In December, her college went into recess and she went to Brazil to spend the holidays with her family and to go on a pilgrimage to the sacred grounds of Guarapiranga to express her gratitude for everything she's experiencing, attending Meishu-sama's birthday service. And how happy she was to learn that her faith experience was selected to be shared at the January service in the very sacred grounds. After these experiences, she was able to prove the importance of Johrei and the commitment that we must make to be useful to others through the channeling of the divine light. Gabrielle is very grateful to God, Meishu-sama, and her ancestors for the permission to have her fate changed through the basic practice of our faith. She commits to continue serving and spreading the work of Meishu-sama wherever she is, through Johrei and the divine writings. Thank you very much for listening to this wonderful faith experience. I wish you a very blessed evening, very blessed week. With this concludes our evening service. Thank you very much.